Welcome to Crappens. Don't wait a week for a new video. Join our Patreon at the Crappens On Demand level for instant recap access. Link in description. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Watch Our Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is the one and only Mr. Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How's it going?
Hi.
You look happy.
I'm
look
so
happy as a
happy.
clam.
How are you?
I'm very, very happy. I'm a very happy person. Today we are talking Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The reunion part 2, very exciting. Also, so we were going to do Summer House as the bonus. I think we even announced that earlier this week, but it turns out that Miami is not going to be airing until later. Well, it didn't air last night. It's going to air tonight. And we didn't have a screener for Miami, but we did have a screener for Summer House. So we are having Summer House on the main feed, and we'll just do Miami on Monday. So it'll be, our recap will be up on Monday. And then for our bonus this week, we are going to be betting it all on Blonde for Erika Jayne's riveting, fascinating, and insightful spin-off show that shows what happens when someone goes to a rehearsal. So today, though,
For the first time, their rich husband isn't paying for. Very interesting stuff. Now, we were going to completely ignore that because Erica's trash, but I woke up to 2 texts from friends about it saying...
By the way, friends, don't text Ronnie anymore. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry. Well, I took the notes at least. You just had to watch it. I mean, look, we had to watch it anyway. So it's a Bravo show. We're not going to just not watch it. So, we're just going to talk about it because two friends were like, oh my God, this is so fun. I can't wait to hear what you say. It's so funny. And I was like, okay. And so, I was up at 5 in the morning anyway. I cannot sleep lately. I've stopped taking sleeping aids. And usually that takes a week of addiction. I think that's why I've been so bitchy about drug addiction this week on our show. I've been really bitchy about it as far as like Vanderpump Rules and not Below Deck, Summer House, where I'm just like mad at everybody for being sober and like complaining about sobriety. And like, I've really had a chip on my shoulder about it. Guess why? Because I am a drug addict. And so I'm just recently off of Ambien, and I guess it hasn't been an easy road. So there's my confession for the day. But I cannot fucking sleep to save my life. And so I'm up at 5 in the morning. So what else am I going to do? I took a piano class on YouTube, and then I came and I took notes on the least musical thing I could have possibly thought of, which is Erika Jayne.
Hey, you know what? You're having trouble sleeping. I think that turning towards betting it on Blonde is the perfect choice to help you try to, get some Z's. So anyway, we have some live shows coming up. I'm being a real bitch today. We have some live shows coming up in May. We have London and Birmingham and Dublin, and that's going to be late May. And then we have Netflix. Netflix is a joke in Hollywood in May 3rd. So everyone come see us for those. That's at watchacrappens.com. And if you want to hear this bonus episode that we'll be recapping, be sure to join our Patreon, patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens. So that is that. And now we actually have this big Beverly Hills recap, this reunion. So let's dive into it, okay? Should we dive in?
Dive in, Ben.
Okay, I'm going to dive in. So it opens up with Andy talking. Where we're at right now is that Andy and Kyle are, not Andy and Kyle. Kyle and Dorit are talking about their friendship falling apart. So Kyle is like, Andy's like, Kyle, at the celebration of life, I know you welcome the support of the ladies, but at other points of the season, there was a marked distance between you and your friends, especially Dorit. It seems like maybe that began last year, where you said you were disappointed in Dorit for how she handled the Kathy situation at the reunion.
She's like, but they were like coming after me, but then they were like, rah, 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 Kathy. It's like everybody loves Kathy, but like nobody loves me. And I'm mad. That's why I'm mad at Dorit right now. It's like totally Kathy based. Get over it, dude. Like, is your whole life about being miserable and resentful of your more famous sisters? Like, seriously, it's your 13th year, as you reminded us, or your 12th year, whatever. Fucking get over it, Kyle. Okay? You have Ambien left.
Yeah. Seriously. So
get the fuck over it. I don't want to hear it from you. Okay. I'm just going to keep projecting my anger for my own life onto other shows. And you're getting it today. Okay. And also, that's not the point. This is a perfect example, this episode, is of Kyle deflecting, refusing to take responsibility, and blaming everybody else and being the biggest fucking victim. I mean, is there a religion opening? Like, are you really competing for the biggest martyr in the world? How are you turning into you dumping Dorit into Dorit saying one nice thing to Kathy at the reunion? Come on.
Yeah, I was like, Ronnie's gonna have a field day with this episode, just because Kyle was being so Kyle, and the way
really
Kyle,
was.
and like she's like, well, I'm sorry, maybe I just want to pull away, like the way again, like the champion of open and honest, now declaring that sometimes she just wants to pull away and be alone. It's like, okay, this is peak Kyle right here.
And so she's like, Kathy. And Dorit's like, whoa, so you think that I'm kissing Kathy's butt? That is the most hysterical thing, Kyle. And Dorit's like, listen, I was only trying to make you see that Kathy wanted you to take some responsibility. It's like one line in the reunion. And then Garcelle's like, oh, do you ever just say I was wrong? Okay, you're not wrong, Garcelle. Dorit never says she's wrong, but Kyle also never says she's wrong. And right now, Dorit is against Kyle, and I need some support for Dorit and less making this about you and Dorit. This has nothing to do with you and Dorit. You already read Dorit for filth and won that argument, okay? Let Dorit win this one, because I need Dorit to win this one, okay? Stay out of this one, Garcelle.
I 100% agree. And I also feel like Garcelle now, I mean, you read Dorit for filth, so now go read Kyle for filth. Like you in fact, you started down this process this season. Now is your time to do some finishing moves, okay? Like, why are we the only two people, it feels like, who see the hypocrisy in Kyle? Well, we're not. I think when I say it, I think a lot of our audience does feel this way too. I don't know why I just acted like we're part of the reunion. But like, why can't they see the hypocrisy the way we see it so clearly?
I don't know, but it's annoying because Kyle is basically, she's taking this whole like, well, Sutton attacked me all season. Well, that was Garcelle. I mean, the moment she's talking about that party, were Garcelle and Sutton together working in tandem, which, by the way, we'll get to, and they were in the right anyway, in my opinion. But it was them working in tandem, but the only one that Kyle is pissed off at is Sutton for some reason.
Right.
And so Garcelle keeps trying to get in here, but for whatever reason, Kyle won't argue with Garcelle, only Sutton, which I find kind of funny, because Garcelle was way more offensive in that situation than Sutton was, I thought, if you're from Kyle's perspective.
Yeah, but Sutton was the one who actually broke the internet. So that's why Kyle is mad. It's like you had a social media moment that everyone loves, and everyone continues to love Sutton, even though, like, I'm the one supposed to be having a sympathetic storyline. I'm supposed to be the next Ariana. But for some reason, Sutton comes out of this with everyone saying name him, and everyone loves Sutton. So that's what Kyle's really pissed about.
Isn't that funny? Who knew Ariana would get to this point? I mean, Ariana's like the most popular costume at Bravo's Party City at this point, or Halloween City or whatever,
Yeah.
Like, every Bravo star just wants to be Ariana for the season.
It's true. So anyway, so Kyle's like, well, another thing that bothered me about this, like, oh, so I'm allowed to speak on my own behalf. Okay. So Andy's like, all right, Kyle, well, I want to move on to something else. I want to talk about your sobriety. It's been about 1.5 years. Is that right? How does it feel? And she's like, oh, Andy, it feels amazing. It's not like I have a problem or anything. So you think like, well, why would the change affect you so much? But there's just like something about it that like really changes you. It's like the world looks so different when you're not viewing it from the floor with your legs in a split.
It's so crazy. It really changes you, Andy, which is why I have a totally new face this season. Completely different face. Now listen, I'm all for people going sober. I'm currently sober. And it's fine. It really hasn't changed that much about me, except that I'm more bored on the weekends. I will say that people who talk about it this much probably do have a problem, because you've made it too much of your personality to not have a problem with it, okay? Stop making this your whole personality. She's like, I don't have a problem, but I'm going to mention it every 5 seconds that I don't have a problem with it, you know? I'm just saying re-examine it or shut up. So then Andy's like, so Dorit, how much do you think Kyle's sobriety is influenced by her new friendship with Morgan? And Dorit's like, well, you change. First of all, the answer is she's completely ripping off Morgan, just like she's ripped off everybody else more popular than her in her life, okay? Evidence, pink swing in the backyard. And multiple dogs for no reason.
Yeah.
So Dorit's like, well, you changed your lifestyle. You're not drinking. You've got friends that don't drink. And I understand how Morgan can play a role in that regard. But I don't think that she influenced Kyle to stop drinking. Yes. So she didn't tell her to stop drinking, but Kyle's copycatting her. Why don't you just give a real answer, Dorit? That's your problem, you know? It's like you pussyfoot around. Just say it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what is hard here is that like Kyle's like, I don't have a problem. That, you know, I didn't stop drinking because I had a problem, which I believe. But then she's also surprised at the idea that like, oh, you're changing all these things in your life all of a sudden. You're having like a clear life change. I won't say midlife crisis, because that she might not be in crisis, but she's definitely having a midlife shift. But she sort of like acts surprised at this idea. But I do think that she is, I think that she's fully copycatting Morgan. I don't think that she did it because of Morgan.
She's like copying her style, her hair, her tattoos, her not drinking, her like working out all the time. She's literally copying every single thing about this person.
Yeah, she just decided this is the new personality that I want to have, and I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to draw a little Kemosabe hat on my elbow. You know who was at Kemosabe, by the way, yesterday, I believe? Ramona Singer, okay? She had to go there, okay? She had stored her hat incorrectly, so one half of her hat was sticking up, her cowboy hat. She's like, so I came here to get my hat fixed, okay? And now I'm at Kemosabe's, all right?
I forgot what we were talking about with Kyle. Okay, but
Morgan,
anyway, so then Olivia. Oh, I think part of it that Kyle. I think part of the reason Kyle is getting so mad at that, because she is being copied. She is being called out on copying Morgan flat out on the internet, at least. But I think one of the reasons she's offended is because it takes away like her personal wins. Like it takes away the credit of her quitting drinking on her own, and it gives the credit to somebody else. Like, oh, you're only copying a person that's better than you, which I can kind of get. You know what I mean? So then Andy's someone named Olivia Stabler on Twitter, which is kind of a mashup of the names on Law and Order SVU, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, why does this person sound familiar? Is this someone that we're supposed to know? That must be what it is.
Because it's Benson and Stabler, I think, on there. Why are they?
Yes.
Why are they invoking Law and Order SVU in Beverly Hills? I mean,
was this just Mariska Hargitay?
Mariska from Hargitay says, everyone's being mean about Kyle's sobriety. Garcelle, what's your response? Are you mean? Are you mean to Kyle?
Bum bum. And Garcelle's like, no. I don't think
in the
we're
criminal justice system. One side of the stage is mean to Kyle, and the other side of the stage is really mean to Kyle. Dun, dun.
Lon Dorit.
You're mean.
Lon, open and honest. Or
Mean
open and
meaner.
honest.
The Kyle version.
Bum, bum, dun, 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 dun. So Garcelle's like, well, no, as someone who probably was on this Law and Order at one point, I don't think that we were not on board with it, but every now and then we were like, like, oh, are you really doing this mocktail thing? In jest. Like, didn't really answer that. She's like, of course we were on board with it. We just wanted to make fun of her for this ridiculous choice she made.
And Erica's like, I think if Kyle had a drinking problem, it would have been different, I mean, when someone really has a problem, it's not like I'm making jokes. Like, remember when Crystal was talking about her eating disorder, and I just said, oh, who doesn't have one, honey? I do mine with laxatives. What's the big deal? Why are people so mad? Triggered.
That's so true. Okay, so Garcelle's like, she's like, exactly. And Dorit's like, it wasn't just not drinking. There seemed to be a big shift, Kyle. Like she was working out incessantly, and tattoos. It seemed like she had changed quite a bit. Still didn't have a personality though.
I've never had a personality, so Why would you accuse me of that? Also, I've been working out since I was... No, you haven't, Kyle. You have not been working out to the degree that you are now ever since you were 15, Kyle. You've been working out ever since you started dating Morgan. Who are you trying to kid?
Well,
we have a television, ma'am.
Okay, and let's say, okay, we are now in the courthouse. Judith Light is presiding over this case of Kyle Richards versus the accusations. And let's just say she has been working out since she was 15, but she never talked about it. Well, she says, I never talked about it because I had two sisters that were 6 and I was curvy. So, okay, you never talked about it, but now you're talking about it incessantly. The point is that you are changing. So fine, you've always worked out. So why are you now all of a sudden making it part of your personality? Like, that is the point, that something is going on that's caused this shift. And she acts like it's crazy that people notice this.
Yeah. And she's like, I mean, it's not like I was being reckless or drinking or doing drugs or anything like that. I mean, if I was doing that, we could totally talk about that. You know, like the thing is, like, I've learned a lot about myself, guys. And Sutton's like, well, you were being reckless because you said I had a drinking problem. Okay, well, you too, Sutton. Okay, people on this show need to stop being offended about completely obvious things. Kyle is offended that people are shocked that she's not drinking. People are allowed to question whether or not you drink, and everybody needs to stop being so I don't care if you were an alcoholic up until 5 minutes ago and you've just made it 5 minutes of not drinking. It's not going to kill you for somebody to say, you're not drinking? How come? Like, let's grow up. Okay, let's be fucking adults about it. You can, if you're tackling alcoholism, you can certainly handle a couple of insensitive idiots in your life. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, while we're talking about being able to handle obvious things, Sutton, you drink a lot to the point where you're kind of falling down and making an ass out of yourself a lot. You can't drink that much and then get offended. You're gonna survive this.
Thank you.
You know?
So, thank you. And I say this as a Sutton fan, and I say this as an alcohol fan. I've always said this, which is like, just because you drink, just because you enjoy to throw some back, does not mean you're an alcoholic. But by the way, if you get sloppy, if you get drunk all the time, people are going to ask questions, and and if you get sloppy all the time, people are going to lose respect for you. I'm not saying Sutton gets sloppy, but the point is this: you can't just do any of these things, not drink or drink, in a vacuum. I'm sorry, you can't. And you can't say, oh, it's my personal choice, I don't have to share it with you. Well, the thing is that
people are going to talk, right?
But people are impacted.
People are going to talk, and they're going to say things, and you're going to have to just get the fuck over it. Like, what can I tell you? People are going to speculate whether you're drinking or whether you're not, or if you lose weight, are you on Ozempic, or if you have a drink, are you an alcoholic, or if you smoke drugs, or if you smoke some weed one time, are you a drug addict? Everyone's going to have an opinion. Fuck them. What are you going to do? Go enjoy yourself. The thing is, the thing making it a big deal is you guys. Sutton's bringing it up constantly that she's an alcoholic. I don't think I would have ever thought of it again. But Sutton brings it up every 5 minutes that it's this horrible thing that Kyle said she drinks too much. Yeah. And Kyle brings up every 5 minutes everything she wants them talking about so she could be so offended. And one of them is this not drinking alcohol thing. Kyle, no one would say anything about it if you weren't like, oh, hi, it's so good to be at this bar, but I'm not drinking. I would love a mocktail. Is that a mocktail? Does that have caffeine in it? Okay, I'm going to order the onion rings. Does that have caffeine in it? I mean, not caffeine, alcohol. Sorry, this isn't Salt Lake City. Do these onion rings have alcohol in them? Because I'm not drinking.
Are these beer battered? Can they be beer battered in Michelob Zero or whatever? Here's the thing. You don't have to answer the questions. You can say, mind your own fucking business.
Just say mind your own business.
But just don't be surprised. I guess it's like, don't be surprised that people are like, what's going on? Like, wow. Like, don't be surprised that people, if you're carrying a mixer in your bag at all times because you might just be having some alcohol and you don't know when or where it's going to happen, people might call you an alcoholic. You might not be an alcoholic, and you can say, no, I'm not. I just like to always be prepared because I like to have a fun time. That's fine. But don't be shocked that people are like, that's odd, because most people don't carry around emergency mixers in their bags.
And one argument I saw was like, Ronnie, the reason it's bad is because Sutton still has custody of her kids. She's still raising her kids. This could hurt her reputation. Her husband could try and take money from her because she's not called. Okay, well, my answer to that is then don't pull out Ocean Breeze from your purse because it's the only mixer you'll drink with your alcohol. Like, come on.
Yeah, you're because you are so selective about your alcohol consumption at this point because you've had so much of it that you know exactly the sort of experience that you want, and you don't want to even be bothered with the other experiences. But you're not. You don't have a drinking problem. Actually, I don't think you have a drinking problem, but you can't.
I don't think she
you just can't
necessarily
act.
has a drinking problem either.
Just can't act surprised.
I just think like this. Here's the thing that's pissing me off. I just feel like I need to keep explaining myself, but I just want to make it clear.
It's fun.
It is fun. It's fun harping and being mad at nothing.
It's really. I'm like having the best time.
Like, I'm so pissed off, and I don't know why. Like I have nothing to be mad at. But I just want to clarify. I'm not against somebody for becoming sober, okay? And I'm not against. But here's the other thing. I'm not against people for being alcoholics either. And I think we need to stop fucking criminalizing everybody. Everybody in life that I know has an addiction to something. There is something going on with us. Mm-hmm. It's a drug, it's a food, it's an alcohol, it's a whatever. We need to decriminalize it in our, I mean, not the driving part. You know what I mean? I mean, we need to destigmatize every little thing. Like it's the worst thing in the world to be an alcoholic. It's not. We all know one or two or three or our family. And we're going to survive it, okay? And it's okay to talk about these things. That's all. Like, leave her alone, even if she is an alcoholic. You don't get to sit there and, like, fucking judge her ass for it every second of the day. And Kyle not being an alcoholic, we don't have a right to sit around and judge her ass every second of the day. Find better things to talk about over a drink. Yeah,
preferably with some grapefruit juice splashed into it.
If you have an Ambien, loan me one, because I could use a night.
So Sutton is really she's basically doing the reunion thing, which is that even though this is a segment about Kyle and has she changed, Sutton's going to turn it into a segment about herself because she's saying, I think you were reckless because you said I had a drinking problem that I don't eat. That is reckless in and of itself. Like, no, I'm going to say no, it's not reckless. This is actually like, this is bad. Like you can't turn Kyle saying these things. You just can't put it on the same level as like what we really think of recklessness when it comes to drinking, which is driving or neglecting children or like burning down a house or something like that. Having a snarky comment about the fact that you have ocean spray in your bag, which you do have for all the reasons we just said, is not reckless behavior. I am sorry.
Well, also, the reason she said that, and first of all, I disagree a little just because calling someone an anorexic and alcoholic, like, of course that's not nice, right? Which is basically what Kyle was doing. So I can understand why she'd be pissed at it. But it was in retaliation to you saying, I mean, look at Kyle. She's working out. Losing all this weight, kind of hinting at Ozempic or whatever was happening at the beginning of the season. And that's why Kyle was like, well, I don't talk about you and you're not you're not eating and then drinking a lot or whatever. So in that instance, it was Kyle kind of retaliating. So you can't be like the biggest victim in the world. I mean, listen, Sutton, I'm standing up for Kyle. When does that ever happen? So you know you're wrong if even I'm standing up for Kyle.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle was being reckless. I think she was being targeting. And in fact, on top of that, Kyle was saying she stopped drinking because she felt she was being reckless. And Sutton's like, like I guess Sutton's saying, no, you're still being reckless even though you've stopped drinking. But I don't know. I think Sutton just wanted to insert herself so she can start going after Kyle and being like, you accused me of being an alcoholic, which I most certainly am not. Now, who else here could use a cocktail? So Kyle is like...
You know what? That accusation had me shaking. Okay?
Mainly because I just really needed to have a cocktail.
This relationship is now on the rocks. Okay? And if you want to stir up any more trouble, I suggest that you...
I bet you think this is real neat, huh? Real neat.
You can put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay, I moved on. I changed addictions.
So Kyle's like, she's like, no, hold on one second. I never said you had a drinking problem. Not one time. She's, but did you bring it up and kind of insinuate it? And she's like, oh, I did. Like, did you or did you not? And Kyle's like, no, you don't do the name thing again. Okay, you already had your moment on the internet. Today's my day to have an internet moment.
Today I'm going viral. mean. And Sutton's like, I'm just asking you a question. Okay. Well, just to answer this, because Kyle's never going to be truthful. Yes, Kyle was insinuating flat out that you're an alcoholic and anorexic. But you started it. So just say that so we can move on from this segment.
Yeah. So Kyle's like, let me finish. I'm asking you a question. Let me finish. Then answer it. Let me finish. I never said you had a drinking problem. I actually specifically made a conscious decision to never say something like that. And it's like,
after I called my sister an alcoholic in a limousine on national television, and I got in trouble, and I'm still getting in trouble for it 12 years later. So
she's like, my sister's Kim Richards. I know the difference. Okay, that's what she really should have said. That would have been hilarious.
But it is such a Kyle answer to be like, actually, I never said you were an alcoholic, and I actually had a conversation with myself to not call you an alcoholic. Meaning, you're clearly an alcoholic, and I am purposely going out of my way to not point out that you're an alcoholic on TV.
Right. So that way I can say I never said that, and
even though I'm insinuating it again right now to your face on this.
I mean, maybe you don't remember exactly what I said because you were wasted, and I'm not saying you have a problem or anything, but maybe you were drunk, and maybe it was like 10 a.m. because the first thing that you had in the day. And if anyone wants to say that you have a problem because of that behavior, that's their choice. I'm not saying it.
I just want you to swallow your pride. So they start arguing around this, and Sutton's like, well, you said I'd push my food around and I don't eat it. Just, well, I say it again. Okay, I would say it again. And she's like, well, do you know what that did to me? Did it make you eat a pizza, Sutton? Because otherwise I don't believe you.
To be fair, I think anyone who has Kyle's quote-unquote blackened salmon also probably pushes their food around the plate.
I know.
And has a burger
Kyle
afterwards.
thinking everybody who comes over has an eating disorder because they refuse to eat her fucking salmon.
You're just a bad cook, Kyle. So, I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sorry that Sutton didn't enjoy the weed-infused food. Like, I'm sorry. So I've never had any of the weed food. The weed. I've never had like a cannabis meal. But I honestly can't imagine that's going to taste that good. I'm going to put that out there. I feel like it's going to be one of those things. It's like when people have like a protein bar and they're like, this actually tastes like really good. And then you taste it and it's like garbage. They just say it tastes really good because they have to say it to justify why they are eating them so often.
Well, especially at that weed party, because since everybody was taking different doses, they were just putting it in the butter. I mean, they even said that at some point. Like, that's why we give you this pat of butter. It has this much. So, of course, it's going to taste better to the people with more weed because they had more butter on their food, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I would be pushing around the food there, too, unless I got too high. Well, I guess it's the thing that it's self-perpetuating, right? It tastes like shit, but then you get stoned.
It's pretty good.
Eat the rest of it.
Well, it's not bad. There's like a hint of, at least whenever I've had it, there's like maybe a hint of it, but it doesn't taste really strong. It just tastes like more
like oregano,
umami. A little more umami to it. So Kyle's like, I mean, okay. So Sutton's like, well, do you know what that did to me? Accusing me of being an anorexic and an alcoholic. I'm a upstanding member of the community. And Kyle's like, what did I ever do to warrant you doing what you did to me at my weed dinner party? You have a lot of everything with Kyle. Is like, oh my God, you started it. The only reason I said this to you is because you hurt me. You were mean.
I know, every single thing. And Sutton's been saying, meanwhile, like, you just start a bunch of seedlings. Seedlings. She's on this like seedling tear. Spreading your seedlings around, and Kyle's like, that wasn't a seedling. Okay, it says, oh, that's not a seedling, that you've done nothing wrong. Not a seedling. They're having like a seedling fight.
So then Kyle's like, but you were acting like I did something wrong to you instead of saying, are you okay? Do you need a friend? The reason that happened at that weed dinner is because you would not stop begging them to say something about your fucking relationship with Morgan. Nobody was talking about it. You were literally sitting there making them talk about it.
You know, it's amazing that, you know, Kyle does have a point. Like, why didn't, you know, when Kyle is clearly going through an issue with her family, why didn't Sutton come up to her and say, are you okay? Do you need a friend? I mean, think of all the times that Kyle has done that to Sutton. Like the time that Sutton's book was overdue at the library. Kyle was like, need me to drop that book off for you? I'm sure that happened at some point. What are the other times that Kyle checked in on Sutton?
Sutton getting $300,000 a month. I got to go to the library. I really don't want to pay for this book. If I'm not spending one more dollar on Sidney Sheldon. I'm telling you that much.
I don't want to pay a lot. Okay, here are the two things I don't want to pay a lot for: mufflers and books.
So Andy is asking Crystal, so was Kyle dropping seedlings about Sutton's drinking? And Kyle interrupts, and she's like, what have I ever said about your drinking other than that one time? And, well, right now when I was suggesting that, like I've really had to restrain myself from saying something about your drinking. And Sutton's like, I saw y'all. Y'all were talking in the kitchen about it. And she goes, oh, y'all. How dare you? Leave the y'all out of it, okay? You don't need to freaking region shame the woman.
So Crystal is like, had that been an isolated moment and you guys never talked about drinking again, I would have said no, but I felt there was conversation. Kyle's like, and like, when was the other time? Clarify. Name him. Kyle.
That is officially boring now. Okay, we're all over that.
You're ruining it, Kyle. Crystal's like, I'm just saying that was enough for me to say that.
We see a clip in the kitchen that morning when Dorit's like, well, Sutton's a drinker, and I would not be surprised if she pours a little vodka in her coffee in the morning. And Kyle's like, a little before 10 a.m., and they're like making a joke about it. And so Crystal's like,
rightfully so, by the way.
Like, what?
Rightfully, for sure they should be making jokes about Sutton's drinking. Like, I think that was a totally warranted joke to make. Not saying Sutton has a problem, but like, again, Sutton, I don't know why I'm relitigating this right now. Like, we talked about it all season. But if Sutton's carrying around mixers in her bag, I think people, like, I would probably make a joke about someone pouring booze into their coffee at 10 a.m. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's okay to make jokes about that, and I think it's okay to be pissed off and tell someone to go fuck themselves over it too. I don't know. I don't get all the agita. So then Crystal's like, yeah, I mean, this had to have been a conversation with you guys. And Kyle's like, clarify, when was the other time? And she's like, just because we're friends doesn't mean that what she says, that what Dorit's saying is always what I'm saying too. Okay? And, well, except that it is. And Dorit, even now, when she's mad at you, is still parroting everything that you say and towing the Kyle line on every single argument.
Yeah. And Kyle's again like, I never said she has a drinking problem. Those words never came out of my mouth, much like I'm sure a lot of booze did every time that she drinks too much. Son's like, of course they don't. They wouldn't never come out of your mouth because you're very smart, Kyle. You're very, very smart. You're very clever. You play a good game of chess, which, by the way, I was hoping that moment would be dwelled upon a little bit more, because wasn't that famously what Kyle said to LVP in the season 2 reunion of the show? She's like, I always feel like I'm playing chess with you.
Yeah, she's called her Bobby Fischer.
Yeah. And so now here comes Sutton saying that about Kyle, and Kyle's like, yeah, I mean, I do know that like what I've been dealing with all season long with like the weed dinner and like what people were saying about like my family, and I shared that with all of you right at the gate at the Eagle Woman thing. Okay, guys?
Kyle, you are showing up purposely, like holding up your hand, your wedding ring hand, and like twirling your new ring around to make everybody ask you about the ring. I mean, people barely asked you. You're like begging them to ask. It's so hilarious to me that nobody cares except Kyle. And they're just like rolling their eyes at her. Like, no one cares if you're gay, Kyle. No one cares if you're boning Morgan. Like, nobody has even made any kind of jokey comment about it. The only one I can think of the entire season is Garcelle saying, oh, her and Morgan, I bet there's a country song in that. Something like that, which wasn't even that bad.
She is vague booking, as they would say, like posting that thing on Facebook or on social media, like, oh my God, I can't even believe about last night. And then just like hoping that people say, what happened last night?
Yeah.
It's basically like a test. In some ways, I think it's actually a test. I think she is seeing who's going to come to her and be sympathetic and who is going to ignore her and who is going to challenge her.
I think she just wants to be popular for 1 second. I mean, she's doing what all of us do. Well, I didn't go to college, but a lot of my friends who were in college did, which is like being bi for 5 minutes. I'm not saying bisexuality is not real, but like, when we all have that friend who was like, did it for 5 minutes, but very demonstrably so that everybody could see. It's like, oh my God, I'm so into girls right now, to like be hotter for that moment. And I feel like Kyle's doing that. She's just doing it in her 50s.
I thought you said when you said she's doing that thing that we all do in college, you were going to say, oh, get wasted and sing along to Chumbawamba. Because that was
you still do that. I don't keep that in college preferences.
I can't give up the past.
You literally did that last week when I saw you.
I have a very distinct memory of like going to a frat party, being in the basement of this frat because all the drinking happened in the basements, and that song had just come out, and a girl in glasses lifting her beer up and being like, "This is my jam," and she's like, "I get knocked down, I get up again, I never gonna get me down." That's just like I always think of that. That is like,
did somebody knock her down? Because that
she was
would
probably
have been hilarious.
Now, excuse you, that you're being reckless. Are you? What are you trying to say? That she has a drinking problem?
Remember when you sang that song accusing that poor girl of falling down in a party?
So what? She drinks a cider drink? She drinks a lager drink?
But the thing was, she got back up again, but then she fell down again. I mean, she kept falling down and getting back up again.
You know that there's probably a good chance that Kathy used to call Kyle Chumbawamba as kids, right? She's probably
Just forgot
traumatized
her
by
name
that.
enough.
It's like, where's Chumbawamba?
Okay, so Kyle's like, she's talking about, Kyle's like, how dare you? I shared it with everybody at Eagle Woman. Don't you remember? And then we see a clip of the Eagle Woman thing at the very beginning of the season when Kyle's like, guys, I would be lying if I didn't say things are kind of difficult sometimes in the past year. Is anybody going to ask me? Nobody did. I would be lying if I said it was really difficult not thinking about my gorgeous woman friend, right? No one's going to ask me anything. It's a woman. Did you hear that she's a country star? Anybody? Anybody hear country? No? Nobody going to ask her name? Do you want her act? Do you want anybody have Instagram right now? You want to look up her name? Nobody?
I just want to report that later today, I'm going to go to Modell's Sporting Goods, and then when I leave, I'm not going to. I'm going to probably have to leave there. I'm going to have to leave Modell's Sporting Goods. I'm leaving Mo. Anyone want to read into what I'm saying? Modell's. Gotta not go to Mo's.
Ring? Is that a new ring? It's like the only thing that anybody notices that Kyle got new jewelry. So she's still trying to make this happen. Still nobody gives a shit. And Kyle's like, I told all of you guys. And Teresa's like, not really. And she goes, yes, I did. And she goes, well, you just said you weren't going to say anything, that your life has been kind of hard. And she's like, oh my God, don't even get me started. And Crystal's like, no, she did. She said she had a hard year. I mean, I was surprised to hear it.
And Sutton and Garcelle are like, oh, well, she said it was the hardest year, or whatever. And Teresa's like, but that's exactly what I'm saying. You said we've had a hard year. You didn't say, oh, Mo and I are struggling. You did talk about Modell's Sporting Goods, but I don't even know what that is. You also said something about how you're no longer into Dick's Sporting Goods, and I feel like you were trying to make a message about that, but I couldn't quite figure that one out either.
I mean, you did say something about needing to take a vacation to Lady Pond.
Something about, I think you said claim jumper. You're going to claim jumper. Did you say clam jumper, though? I think you missaid it.
So Kyle's like, oh, my God, really? So what makes everybody think they're entitled to know about my life? Are you kidding me? Oh, my God. Please, where are the editors? Are they sleeping? Can we not get some open and honest clip in here? How have we not had an open and honest montage yet? They really love Kyle too much on this show.
I know. I was like, I wanted to have, like, I really wanted to have, like, a Chinatown moment. You know, like that moment in Chinatown where Jack Nicholson's, like, shaking Faye Dunaway. And, you know, I mean, I don't condone violence, but I definitely wanted a moment where it's like, come on, spit it out. Come on, I'm shaking you. I don't know what I'm on today, Ronnie. I don't know how I'm going from Modell Sporting Goods to Chinatown. This is just...
it's a very end
Thank you for being my
day.
Podcast partner for dealing with this right now.
Listen, I'm over here screaming about alcoholism literally for no reason. I feel like I've pissed off every single person in the audience, no matter what side you're on. I just keep vacillating. That's like a
gaslighting.
It's like a different. It's like a combination of gaslighting and vacillating. But I've just been vacillating from side to side, just furious and not really caring. I don't.
Well, at least you don't have
either today.
At least you don't have a mental face swap of Kyle Richards on Faye Dunaway's body with Jack Nicholson shaking her. My sister. She's my sister. She's my daughter. She's my sister. She's my daughter.
I would never put Kyle in a role that big. So Kyle is mad. And so, now I have to say this in Kyle's, not defense, but to Kyle's credit again, she does keep stumping Sutton, which is so funny because Sutton is in that position where she's literally in the position of having first chair, which has got to be super exciting for her, right? She's in like the head B chair. And she keeps trying to come for Kyle, but she's not winning. And Kyle keeps eating her alive, and it cracks me up because Kyle's not really good. Like, I feel like Kyle doesn't come out the winner of many reunions, but she is eating Sutton alive.
She does kind of. Well, Sutton's probably also drunk, let's be honest.
Sutton's like, listen, we all share what's going on in our lives, Kyle. And she goes, no. That is not true. She goes, every one of us. That's true. And Dorit's like, what you mean by that? And, well, I was going to talk about the part where Kyle's like, oh, please, you got a horse. And what did she say to her?
Like, it's coming up.
But that's the part where she ate her up. This part, she didn't really eat her up because this was just a retread of Teresa's monologue where she's like,
oh, yeah, let me tell you something, baby. I've been on this show ever since it was read from a book because they didn't have TV cameras yet, all right? Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah, so she does the whole thing where she's like, I've shown everything. I've shown like everything for 13 years. My daughter, 2-year-old birthday party till like now, whatever. It's like, oh, thank you. You showed what? Thank you for letting us into your life so we could see what a 2-year-old's birthday party was. I feel a lot. I mean, like,
thanks for all that deep info we got about your kids aging like it normally happens on fucking television, Kyle. So the only thing you've ever shared is the misery of everybody else in your family, not you. You've shared Kim's life plenty. You had no problem opening up about what a mess Kim was, or, you know, what a bitch Kathy was to you, or any of your friends outing them for all of their crap over the years. But other than you having parties for your children, I really don't know much that you've shared about yourself over the years.
Yes. By the way, sorry if you're hearing the vacuum upstairs. I don't know if you hear it or not, but it's probably Kyle trying to like suck up this podcast so it doesn't go live. No, I mean, listen, when someone says you don't share things and you say, look at this carefully manufactured presentation of my life that I've given over the past 13 years, to me, that's like, sure, you've shown us your life, but maybe have you shared your life? I am not sure about that. You know, and especially now
even this whole season with stuff going on with Mo, everything's been hinted at. It's been like a ring that she changed, that she flashes, trying to get people to ask her because she won't talk about it. All she says is, and it took her to the very last episode. Everybody waited the entire season to hear what the drama was, and it took to the very last episode for her to say, he broke my trust. And that was it. You're still not going to talk about dating Morgan. You're going to wait until the last 5 minutes of this show to do it. You're a fucking burglar. You don't share anything. You're a time burglar. You have robbed us of time. You don't share shit. And then it turns out that it's probably all a big publicity thing anyway for Mo's show, which everything is addressed in the first 5 minutes. So whatever, Kyle.
No, Ronnie, I push back. Now reading this monologue, you're right. She has really opened up our life. You know what? My children, you guys got to see Portia's going to learn how to drive a car next season, okay? That's a preview for next season. Portia's going to drive. She's going to drive. And by the way, don't you remember? I showed you what it was like, the true living experience of getting groceries in a strange 3-wheel car, a novelty car. I shared my life with
guys.
Okay,
Did you not notice that I changed the names on my luggage? How could you say I don't share things?
Do you remember there was a time when my foyer did not have a pink neon art sign in it, and now it does? That's a share right there.
And Kyle's like, oh, yeah, but you don't talk about anything. You say we're not allowed to talk about Christian because he's so powerful. And Sutton's like, that is an outrageous lie. And she's like, oh, yeah, and then Magic Mike, I guess we can't talk about that.
That's a lie. You are lying right now. You're lying. And so at this point, by the way, Kyle has said, because by the way, Ronnie, you were right. You were at the horse moment. I don't think you realized, but at the end of the monologue ended with Kyle saying, you bought a horse this season and you have a dating coach. Give me a break. It was a good line. And so Sutton's mad.
That's
now
when
Kyle,
she got her, yeah. And she's like,
but Kyle also realizes that she got her, so Kyle really tries to like sell it on us. So she says it about like 10 more times in the span of like the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. And Kyle's like, oh, do you think I owe you everything that happens in my life? And she's, it's not that I want you to spill something. We all had questions, Kyle, okay? You have tattoos. You're working out. You made a lot of life changes. We're just asking. She's like, so what? I've not done anything to hurt anybody. Well, how is being a drunk hurting anybody? Or how is having a really rich husband or buying a horse hurting anybody? You're giving her shit for that.
How is saving Lucy Apple Juice and maybe talking to the press every now and then? How is that hurting anybody? How about that?
Yeah. So cool. Sutton's like, come on, Kyle, you're on a TV show. You've got to understand at some point, Kyle. And she's like, you just came into the season to come after me because you're mean.
As if Kyle being mad that someone may have had an agenda during a season when I literally just invoked the Lucy Apple Juice season and like really every other season where they've driven someone off of the show.
All right. So Sutton's like, I did not. She goes, oh, what? You just came into this to come after me. Don't act innocent. And so Carl's like, okay, maybe just buying a horse in your cashmere line is like, I don't know, maybe that's not enough for you. So you have to talk about me instead.
Kyle getting mad that Sutton has talked about buying a horse when Kyle's attempted storyline this season was, I just love to shop. Shopping. Put me in a gas station.
I've been shopping at 7-Eleven.
I'll shop anywhere I need to be.
My favorite thing is, like, I'm not rooting for Kyle. Obviously, I think Kyle's an asshole. Everybody knows that, okay? And I know it gets a little annoying and monotonous to listen to. But I was actually, this year, rooting for Kyle because Kyle finally had a story of her own. Lesbianism. I mean, I was so excited for her. Like, she's going to leave Mo and run off with a fucking country star half her age? Yes. I was like, Kyle is going to finally have a story. You're even bungling this. It's like the best thing to happen on Housewives in ages, and you're bungling it.
I agree. I was excited because I feel like one issue I've had with Kyle is that she's not her authentic self. And I've always said that season 1 Kyle was the most authentic version of Kyle. She would go hot and cold, and it was great to watch. And but then she became aware of the audience. She became aware of her image, and she like keeps things sort of in, and she sort of simpers a lot on screen, like I just feel bad, and she stirs the pot, but then she goes, it's not my fault, I didn't do anything, I just feel kind of bad. And it's kind of like annoying. I don't think it's the real Kyle. And I was excited because it looked like at the beginning of the season, authentic real Kyle was going to come back to us, and she was going to say, you know what, I'm sick of this. I'm done trying to like curry the favor of the audience. It doesn't work, so I'm just going to be me. But then she just goes back to being the Kyle that we've known for the past 12 years.
And also I feel robbed because I feel like I really like Morgan. I've loved every minute of Morgan on this screen. What'd you say?
Hey, Kyle, will you go get a tattoo of me? Okay, I guess I can like tattoo of me, Kyle.
I mean, I love it. I love her song about fucking somebody on a kitchen floor. I love her song about like snorting coke off some Real Housewives stomach or some Real Housewife snorting coke off her stomach at the Chateau Marmont, which by the way,
her song
Kyle
about
was
baked
just
beans.
sure. Kyle was just sure to be photographed with Morgan last night. Guess where? At Chateau Marmont. So very subtle, Kyle. Very subtle hints that you're dropping over there. But I really like Morgan, and I feel that we were robbed of a character. I need Morgan, the girlfriend. Get her on this show.
Yeah, she sure is pretty. And is like,
I love when Morgan just goes,
Hey, Kyle, you sure are pretty being a Hollywood famous person and stuff. You want me to come over there and sing a song for you?
Yeah, no, I agree. Morgan's fine. She's
Morgan
totally
on.
fine.
I love her.
So Andy is like, all right, well, let's get back to the actual point. Let me just take 5 minutes to remember if there was an actual point. Oh, yeah. Do the other women think that Kyle was insinuating that Sutton had a drinking problem? Which was actually not the point at all, but they've made it that. So Crystal's like, I would say that was more Dorit who was saying that.
So, Dorit, do you think that she has a drinking problem?
Do I think either one of us was insinuating that she... No, Dorit, that's not the question. The question is, do you think she has a drinking problem? Clearly you do, so just say it. And she's like, well, how should I know? I'm not in a glass that she's mauling. And Sutton's like, well, I'm not going to defend myself anymore because I think we can all say that I do not have a drinking problem. Whew. And it's ridiculous. God, you smell like an olive. Did you have a blue cheese in that one?
I don't think you have a drinking problem. I mean, we will never know why you fall in so many gutters.
Maybe you have a balance issue.
Say it. Say it clearly. Say it louder. Say it louder. Say it again.
Do I think that you slur? Perhaps, but maybe it's because you never got the speech therapy that you so desperately needed as a child. Or you're just drunk all day. Who knows? I never said it was a problem.
And I haven't got evidence that you're not drunk or that you're drunk. What am I supposed to know? All I know is that you like things that have been kept in bottles until the point they turn into alcohol. And what can I say? You like fermented liquids.
I'm not here to say whether or not you drink too much. All I know is I think it's a miracle that when you were a professional ballet dancer, you didn't jeter into the audience by accident.
And Sutton's like, well, I think you need to say that I'm not an alcoholic. Well, I can say this. You're not an alcoholic. Okay? Now listen, I can say this for sure about Sutton. Sutton does not have a drinking problem necessarily, but Sutton also does not have a problem drinking. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying that her favorite movie is Leaving Las Vegas, but then again, at the same time, I think it might be a little tough watch for her for reasons that have something to do with her proclivities, but I'm not saying she has a problem whatsoever.
So, and she's like, you better say it. And she's like, well, I can't. I don't know. I'm not psychic. And Sutton's like, well, I don't know if you have a drinking problem either, carcass out. Okay,
Yeah.
So now that somebody orders a drink, now they're an alcoholic. I mean, come on, you're not winning with this.
Yeah, I'd like to see how many carcasses are on the floor every night, but you don't have to worry about that because PK eats all the rinds. So then Andy is like, all right, well, I want to move on to something else. This group famously loves a theme party, and Kyle's weed dinner took things to a new, get it?
So this is the Denise segment, but without Denise, which is kind of pointless, you know? So this is all about Denise showing up and being crazy. And Andy's like, so what was going through everyone's mind when she said to you, watch the show? What are you thinking? Because that was crazy. Someone calling out that it was a television show on television? Nuts.
Well, I kept on saying to her, you can't say that. And Kyle's like, yeah, well, I was like, we can't watch the show right now. We're having dinner. And they're like, yeah, we're on the show right now. Got it. Yeah.
And whose children from aren't on OnlyFans, it's called having a job, you fucking shaming losers, says, guys, clearly Denise is really mad about the Brandy hookup rumor that you brought onto camera last season. And since Renna, Teddy, and Brandy aren't around, she's taking it out on Erica. Okay, well, Andy, this is where I need you to kind of like be a little more present, because that was totally brought on by Kyle, that whole storyline. So why aren't you asking Kyle about it? She's sitting right there, and Lord knows no one took her to task for it last year. I mean, I know it's a year late, but 2 years late? When was that? That was 2 years ago.
Never
right?
too late. Never
It's
too late.
But I mean, if you're going to bring it up, Kyle's here to confront about it. So why couldn't Denise confront Kyle about it instead of Erica?
Yeah. So Dorit's like, I think that's very spot on. Sort of like the accusations about Sutton's drinking, which I never said myself personally. So Andy's like,
Listen, it's as spot on as the spots on Sutton's arm from drinking so much. The drinking liver spots. It's as spot on as the liver spots on Sutton.
it's as spot on as someone saying to Sutton, you should go to AA. So Andy's like,
It's also nose on that. Very, very on
but
that.
I never said that. I never said that. And I would never insinuate such a thing. So Andy's like, well, I kind of thought that too. I mean, but then I wondered why she didn't say it to you, Erica. Like, hey, like you didn't have my back at any level regarding that. I'm like, why are you questioning why Denise never like articulated something properly for herself? Like that is Denise's thing.
That's Denise's whole vibe, dude. And Kyle's like, maybe she just don't want to talk about it again. And Erica's like,
Hold on, I excused myself when she singled me out at the barbecue, and that's why I didn't have her back. Okay?
and so Andy's like, oh, Dorit, what was going through your mind when you were talking to Crazy Pants, Denise? trying to correct her on her coat being upside down. And then we cut to the best scene of the season of Dorit going, "It's your coat on backwards." I mean,
No, it's not. Is your coat on backwards? Is yours Dorit?
Mine? She's like, yeah, I don't give a flying ass fuck about jacket.
fuck jackets.
Just take it down now. Don't do this to me, Dorit. Do not, Dorit.
It's funny literally every single time they show it.
Every single time. And even when she showed up in the finale and didn't do anything but get offended, that killed me too. When they were like, wasn't it Dorit again? He was like,
Well, we're supposed to be wearing white. It's a white party. It's like, well, I'm wearing white under the pink, but it's a white party.
and she walks out. She's like, what fucking ever. What the fuck ever. I can't win with these fucking bitches.
Dorit's like, to this day, I don't know what's bothering her. Maybe she was put off by Sutton's drinking. I'm not sure. But what was she thinking? I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah. And Kyle's like, she was thinking that you were like being a mean girl, I guess, and saying her jacket was upside down, And Garcelle's like, well, I think that she feels like every time you see her, you're, trying to fix something on her or trying to get her off kilter. I mean, I think that that's true. But in this case, her jacket was on upside down. And it's so Denise to still not even realize that. And just be like, what? She was coming for me.
Yeah, I don't know. So Erica's like, yeah, she thought he was setting her up. So Andy's like, well, at BravoCon 2022, Erica predicted Dorit and PK were headed to Splitsville, but was Erica just being a showman, or was she actually onto something? Let's take a look.
Oh, God. And then they show the clip of Erica Jane dressed like Baby Jane. It was very cringy. And so Dorit, Andy asked Dorit, he's like, okay, well, this year, Dorit, you underwent a style transformation. You're brunette and you are wearing less logos. Eve from Not Saint Laurent anymore said, being blonde gets expensive between the new brown hair and the toned down outfit. I'm thinking PK put Dorit on a budget. And the whole stage is like, oh no, boo, boo.
It's like they're all just imagining Gina Kirschenheiter with her like stick in her bindle, be like,
Come to the casita, Dorit.
And Erica's like,
Oh, please. She's still wearing expensive shit.
and Dorit's like, well, nobody puts baby on a budget. One thing doesn't have to do with the other. The dark hair, it's called PTSD, Andy. PTSD. That's what it is.
hold on 1 second. I need to step away for 30 seconds.
Oh, no. I thought that was part of the show. I'm like, when did Dorit step away for 30 seconds? That never happened on the show. So I guess I'm just supposed to sit here and do this alone. All right. So Andy starts to yawn as Dorit starts her PTSD journey. And she's like,
Yawning? Don't you dare. Do not you dare, Andy. Don't you dare, Andy.
and he can't stop because it's like in the middle of the yawn where it just keeps going and going.
How could you do this to me again, Andy?
And they show the clips of the past 3 reunions where he is yawning at her.
Am I boring you? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Andy?
Sorry about that. So where are we? What are you talking about?
I'm literally
come back
2
to
lines into it. We're just talking about where Andy yawns at Dorit.
What's funny is that I come back to you saying, am I boring you? Am I boring you? And I'm like, that could be literally any part of the episode, Dorit.
Am I boring you right now?
So Andy's like, well, okay, I'm sorry about that. I couldn't help it.
She says, okay, well, I guess I'll make this quickly. I'll make this quick since I'm boring you.
And so he's like, so you're not on a budget? She's like,
No, I'm not on a budget, but my husband,
he goes, okay, so you are on a budget. She's like,
no, I'm not on a budget.
All right, well, I don't know what you just said because I just had a micro nap. So, well, we learned at the start of the season that you were recovering from yet another horrific robbery. That you somehow,
Which, by the way, I totally forgot about this robbery.
So there were a lot of questions about the details. Windshield from wipers, should be replaced every 6 months. Says, I read Dorit said that $10,000 in cash was for Christmas bonuses for Santa. I don't understand why she brought it into the store and left it in the shopping cart.
Well, here's the answer, Andy. And Windex from Wipers. When I was driving home to do the Christmas bonuses, I thought, I don't know if I have enough. Oh, I remember. I saw box cards. I'm going to stop quickly and pick up box cards. So I went to Marshall's, and they're like, what? And like the whole stage is like, Marshall?
Pennies? Do you mean Penny Marshall?
All right, you know what? Maybe Kyle has a point, because I must be wasted right now to be hearing these words.
And he's like, wow, Dorit goes to Marshall. She's, I love Marshalls and Home Goods. Hope they give me an ad soon. I know they're sponsoring Bravo poor people at the moment. Not that I'm poor.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba! I'm loving it. Another poor person destination I just love going to. I'm not on a budget, but I am going to Marshall's.
This whole Dorit trying to convince us she's not poor while trying to get a sponsorship to Marshall's is hilarious. I mean, I was dying. And also to blame the robbery on being at a poor person place, right? She's like,
Well, I was at Marshall's, Andy, which is why I was targeted by 3 men who followed me and stole my $10,000, which I didn't even notice until I got up to the front counter with my box cards.
We did identify the men. One was named T, one was named J, and the other one was named Max.
he was quite dirty, but not triple X, just double. Still not something you'd want to watch with the children. But I digress, Andy.
We heard that their getaway driver was someone named Ross, I believe.
So
By the way,
Andy's
I don't
like-
believe that Dorit ever goes into Marshall's. Okay, I don't think so.
Dorit's so full of shit here, trying to say she was at a discount store and she was targeted by Ben, who followed her. And notice that she said when we watched it back on video, because she's insinuating again that they have this all on video of somebody doing this, you know, because that's Dorit and PK's thing to say on video.
Who is bringing $10,000 of cash into Marshall's and not keeping an eye on it? I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. Last season, when all this stuff with Dorit happened, it's like, okay, I'm not going to come for Dorit because who knows, that probably did really happen. That is happening in LA. Even though it was like her third one that this had kind of happened, it was still like, okay, let's have it. But at this point, Dorit, the $10,000, that was a $10,000 cherry on top of the sundae. And I love it that they didn't pussyfoot around it at this reunion and gave her shit for it, because it's officially fucking ridiculous. And if the producers of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills are going to call you out on it, you know it's ridiculous, because they let their cast get away with everything on this show.
Yeah. By the way, I still don't understand her story. So she said that she was going to do the Christmas bonuses, and she remembered seeing box cards
I think
in
she
Marshall's.
was saying,
what does that mean?
I took it as her saying, I can't just hand them cash, but I remember seeing cards, like a box of cards at TJ Maxx, or Marshall. So I thought, oh, I'll put these in a card. So I went there to get the cards. So then I took the money in with me. I guess you don't leave 10 grand in your car, especially at
Right.
Marshall's. But also, is there a Marshall's over there? Where was she? Isn't the only Marshall? I'm trying to remember where the Marshall's is over there. Isn't that all the way in Burbank? She was not in Burbank.
Well, doesn't she live in Encino? I'm sure there's a Marshall's in
Oh, wait. Is there a
Encino.
Marshall's at the Beverly Center? Where is there a Marshall's?
There's across from the Beverly Center at the Beverly Connection.
Right. Okay. So it was
Beverly
probably
Connection has all of them.
Okay,
It
so
has
it's
TJ
probably-
Maxx.
Yeah.
It
Oh
has-
God, I love that
has
place.
Target,
I'm always
City
at the
Target.
best. La Salsa. I'm at the Beverly Connection half my life. When
Beverly
I
Connection is really where it's all, but it has a very confusing parking lot, and God save you if you are behind someone who is confused, and that happens all the time because you have to go down, they have to go up, you have to
But
spin
their
around.
Ross is good. It's worth it.
They have a
Their
great
Ross
Ross.
is good.
They have
It's
they
good.
have a Baja Fresh. It's really great.
The Baja
But
Fresh. Yeah, not the La Salsa. You're right.
I knew what you meant. But there was also there's something else there that's really good. I don't remember, but they've got everything at Saks.
Not
Fifth
Jamba
Avenue.
Juice. How is that place still alive? Ugh. Jamba Juice still.
Well, now
I'm
they're
embarrassed.
Jamba. They're just Jamba.
Oh, wow. They
had
really
a
modernized.
rebrand.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dorit's story doesn't make a lot of sense. So she goes in there. Supposedly she has video of these guys following her around, and she didn't notice that her expensive purse and $10,000 were gone until she got to the register. That's fishy as well, because you know it's a giant purse sitting right in the part of the shopping cart, you know, where you put babies. So anyway, fishy, right? So Andy's like, yeah, well, fans weren't the only ones questioning details. Garcelle made a snarky comment about your robbery being fake, you know, and everybody's so mad about it. So Garcelle's like, okay, well, I didn't say your robbery didn't happen, which you did kind of imply it. So whatever. And Dorit's like, well, to suggest that I went through a mother's worst nightmare. Your child becoming a musical theater person? No, the other one.
My child having to be subjected to Sutton's drunken rants, not saying she's an alcoholic.
So Garcelle's like, no, I didn't say it didn't happen. I mean, my take of it was that Garcelle was saying that the robbery was planned, you know?
Yeah, that it was a fake robbery.
Right. Well, it was a real robbery, but the intention, but there was like PK was behind it because he was doing.
Oh yeah, that's a
insurance
theory
scam.
that PK really set it up to get the creditors off his ass, or de
Something like
Bellagio,
that.
or whoever,
Yeah.
and it just went bad or something.
Well, I believe you were robbed, but I just thought there were a few things that were a little off. That's all. That's what I'm saying. Just some strange things.
Like what?
She's like, well, you know, your ring was still there. It's just,
Let me tell you something. The children and I had just flown in from London, practicing getting cream pies in the face for a Pantone. And 24 hours prior that happened, and the things that I had travelled with, including my rings, were not in the place that they are normally. They were in a Marshall cart that I had in the dining room.
Unfortunately, the rings I had in my suitcase were being carried by 3 men who targeted me in the living room, while the 3 men who targeted me for this robbery were in the bedroom. You see? Very different targeting of rooms.
You know,
Different targeters in different rooms. You go to Target too? Quiet, Andy.
you know, it is a funny story. When we did see those gentlemen stealing the $10,000 out of my marshal's cart, I just begged them, please, when you leave, just leave the Cuisinart saucepan I had selected by the chili sign in the parking lot. And they did. They did.
We see. Okay, so then she's like, "What else? What else?" Now I've dispelled that rumor handily, which, by the way, also sounds really fishy. So the burglars came, but the jewelry, like your wedding ring, where were they? Why would they be somewhere different? Were they in your luggage? Is that what you're saying? Why is your luggage not unpacked? And if it wasn't unpacked, then wouldn't they see it sitting there and go through your luggage? I don't understand. I don't understand any of this. It sounds sus.
yeah. So, so Garcelle's like, she's like,
You do know that I had a gun to my head and the guys were trying to kill me.
and she's like, okay, all right.
Let me finish, please.
Garcelle's like, no, I know the story.
No. Allow me to finish so I can tell you why the robber would be so kind.
So she says the whole thing about how she pled that her, can I just want to call my husband and everything? And Garcelle's kind of like, okay, like whatever, I give up. Just it's fine.
Right, because basically Dorit is pressuring her to keep saying why this robbery is fake, but nothing Dorit says is really making it sound not fake, honestly. I mean, I believed it the whole year, pretty much last year, but now I'm like, oh, these answers aren't great. And Dorit's saying, well, now the reason they were so kind to me is because I begged for my life. Well, killers and robbers don't really care normally. So I guess that's Garcelle's point. But like you said, Garcelle knows enough to know that this is not a good look to be questioning it. Even though I guess I just did. I don't really care.
You're like, I'll do it. Do it.
I mean, yeah.
Garcelle.
So I guess she can see that this is a no-win battle. And so she's like, well, I mean, I just don't think that would happen. I mean, it's rare, at least. I mean, am I wrong, anybody? And Erica's like,
But it's not impossible.
Of course, Erica's going to answer. She's been robbed 15 times for insurance, at least, at her house. Like, she was constantly being robbed over there. So, of course, Erica's going to be on the robbed side of this one.
Well, and also they're trackers on phones, so maybe that's the other reason why they did it.
And Garcelle's like, sure.
It's just that Garcelle, what's crazy is that you go onto national television to peddle a false narrative.
And Garcelle's like, what national? You mean Bravo? Bravo? I was on network.
This is just reality.
Some of us were on the WB.
I mean, some of us know Eddie Murphy, so.
Some of us are booking movie roles and winning awards.
So she goes, oh, on our show, I see. Okay, well, look, I have opinions, and I gave my opinion. I mean, sorry, it doesn't change your world in any way. And Dorit's like,
Of course it does. That is a very, very strong thing to say. And you looking away like it's nothing says a lot about you, Garcelle.
it says that she doesn't fucking believe your story. Now, is it shitty? Yes, actually. And when Garcelle was doing that on camera, I was like, oh my God, that's pretty harsh to like insinuate that this is a fake robbery. But I also loved it because I love that Garcelle does not give a fuck what they're going to say about her, and she cannot be guilted. Dorit's like, how dare you? This is a lot. And Garcelle's like, okay, sorry. She goes,
Thank you. Thank you so much for your heartfelt apology, Garcelle.
she's like,
That's all I wanted. So, it's all I wanted. So Andy's like, all right, I want to move on. Sutton also caused quite a stir when she mentioned that she heard a rumor that PK had another woman in his car when he was pulled over for the DUI. Yeah, I'd like to hear, where did you hear about that, Sutton? She goes, well, and he's like, yeah, where did you hear that? She's like, the streets. The streets told me.
they're like, oh
The
God,
streets.
what streets? Erica's like, the main
Streets of Beverly Hills.
She heard it on the blogs where everybody else heard it because that's what was being reported at the time.
Yeah,
Social media.
I think we all know who was in the front seat of the car with PK,
Social.
ladies and gentlemen.
Billy. They're like, will you do a breathalyzer, ma'am? Take my breath away. No, into this.
Take my breathalyzer away. Like,
It's like, don't offer your breath to the police, Berlin. God damn it.
this turns out all these years the song's been about a field test.
Breathalyzer test. When she gets to that part of doing the alphabet backwards, I love that. It's like the bridge. She's like,
It makes sense.
ZYXWVU.
Watching in slow motion as I drive my car into a stop sign.
Touch my nose and kick.
I was just walking my dog, Archie.
So literally nobody cares because if PK wasn't in the car with that lady while he was getting his test, everyone knows PK's probably in the car with some lady all the time. Like, I don't think anybody would be shocked if PK was caught running around on Dorit. It's PK, for fuck's sake. If anybody was shocked, it would just be that he had the boner to do it.
Or the person with the low standards to be there in the car
Or the
with
person
him.
desperate enough to be in that car in the first place. You're right.
I mean, everyone has their own kink.
Yeah.
But PK is a
Pasty. There are people with a pasty kink out
pasty.
there.
Pasty, someone, like my kink is a pasty man transitioning from diabetes number 2 to diabetes number 3.
I want a man that looks like overwatered dough. It happens.
It does. It's sticky. It's tacky.
It
sticky
happens.
and tacky.
So then Sutton's like, okay, well, I did get a spanking for that. And she's like, well, who from? She's like, PK. He gave me a spanking. So then we see a PK tweet, and it says, Sutton struck. I've never, ever once said one bad word about you. So why would you make up blatant lies to boost your career and then double down is why you're single? You ain't no Dorit love. Excuse you? To boost your career and then double down is why you're single? This is why PK's gross. Never forget that PK's a fucking pig, okay?
Right. Yeah, never forget. Never forget.
And also, the only reason you're not single is because you were rich enough to bag a young idiot bikini designer while you were already married, you fucking pig. You're disgusting, PK.
Yeah, but you know what? He's also a visionary. Beverly Beach, babe. Beverly Beach.
Beverly Beach.
So she's like, it's just really mean-spirited, ugly comments.
ugly, ugly comments. And Andy's like, well, she said something about you in the similar vein that annoyed you. And Sutton's like, oh, yeah, well, I think the vodka and coffee thing was pretty mean-spirited, too. Yeah, don't forget that, Dorit.
Oh, well, all I said was I don't know if she's the type to drink coffee without vodka in it. Big deal.
She loves the flavor combination. Not saying she's an alcoholic.
So then PK was probably from in the car with some hoe, says, Dorit, you didn't get a prenup, did you? So would you even get anything out of a divorce? And she goes,
Excuse me, I met my husband when he was bankrupt.
Oh, morally bankrupt. So Andy's like, he's like, okay, so the answer is no, there's no prenup. And speaking of marital finances, Kyle, in Spain, you said you never read the paperwork that Mauricio gives you before you sign it. Do you know my friend Teresa Giudice? Ha, ha, ha. She went to jail. Ha. Denver, Connecticut.
so, and then married a guy without a prenup who's probably spent all of her money by now, by the way. So then Kyle's like, I grew up with a mom that told me never to trust a man, and to read every little thing, but it's just so hard reading, so yeah, I just sign things that Mauricio tells me all the time. I read a comment that I thought was really interesting. This is not my theory, but I like it. I think I'm going to adopt it. Which is that Kyle, one of the reasons for the marital strife might be some kind of a terrible business issue because Mauricio's always, he's gotten in trouble a couple of times with the real estate company, and Kyle is just trying to make it public that I don't sign any, I don't read anything that I sign, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, she's building her case of plausible deniability or whatever.
Right.
I didn't even know. That's
because
fun.
what
That's
I
a
read
fun
about
thing.
Kyle was that she, and also don't know if this is true, it's just something I read from Sashal, but I also read that Kyle was part owner of the agency, that it wasn't just Mauricio's company, that she's on that, the board or ownership or whatever too, so it's not like she would really even need a prenup, so it's interesting that she's like, what, paperwork?
That's an interesting theory. Well, if that happens, everyone bookmark this episode that we've done, episode number 45,000, and the time is 1 hour, 16 minutes in. And Ronnie, well, actually, someone else called it, but we'll say that you called it. You're going to co-sign it, and you're going to give that conspiracy theory a platform right now. I think, it could happen. Crazier things have happened.
I don't co-sign it necessarily. I love the theory, and I would love if it were true, because you know what? But Kyle would probably even make that boring, honestly.
I know. The most boring Bravo fraud case.
It's finally, the audience is officially over people going to jail because Kyle made it boring,
No, guys, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail, guys. Everyone's like, don't really care anymore.
Let's get let's cut to court and get Kyle's defense to the judge. Let's get this right now. And here we are in
You're mean.
the end. Okay, so then let's see. So Erica's like, okay, well, listen, it's okay to trust your partner. And Andy's like, I don't think you should be the poster child for that statement. She goes,
Okay, well, that's true. I'm not the poster child for any of this shit.
All right, well, moving on to your anniversary, Julia Roberts herself. Julia Roberts was on Watch What Happens Live. I just want everyone to know that I'm basically friends with Julia Roberts now, and the pretty woman herself. And she said, why are you making me watch this show? I don't understand it. I'm an actress. She threw a vase at my head. And then I said, please, you have to do this. You're trying to promote something. And she goes, fine, I am an actress. I can pretend like I watched the stupid shit you peddle on your quote-unquote network that's not really national. All right. And she said,
that's not really national. I love that Julia Roberts thinks it's just public access.
No, in my mind, Julia Roberts is like, what is this? What is public? This something? Did my brother start this show?
That was a funny clip, though, because he's like, so what did you think when PK made a pretty woman scene for Dorit? And she's like, I just totally blocked that out until right now. It's like, really? She goes, yeah. She's like, guess I have to think of that again.
Well, let's see. What did I think? I thought, well, here's a bastardization of one of my most famous and iconic moments, and I'm glad to watch two pieces of meatloaf recreate it with no sexual chemistry. So that was my first thought, I guess.
Yeah, and Julia's like, well, the only thing that would have made it work is if he actually gave her that necklace as a gift. Hold on, let me just laugh because it's my trademark. She just opens her mouth. Rainbows start to come out. Puppies just start flying out of her mouth. Her gigantic mouth.
Listen, Andy, I'm just a girl sitting in front of a strange TV show host asking him to stop making me watch this show. That's it, Andy. Let me promote my disaster movie on Netflix and be on with my life.
Oh, jeez.
Something fell over.
Yeah, my phone, because I was checking my phone.
Well, I did say disaster movie, and you're like, oh no. And so, like, you were acting it out. You're like, I'm at the Julia
iPhones.
Roberts disaster movie. Things are
iPhone's
falling.
beating people on the head. So Dorit goes,
Well, you understand that it was playing on the movie, right?
and Andy's like, yeah, I get it. Jesus. I love that
No,
she says
Dorit.
it's mirroring the movie. Yeah. I remember that part in Pretty Woman when Richard Gere hooks all that stuff up for Julia Roberts, and then Julia Roberts enters bitching about everything and like saying that she needs the proper, what was she asking for? The proper spray tan or the eyeshadow or something, where she's like,
Where's my eyeliner, PK?
Beverly Beach bronzer.
the
No,
bronzer,
my favorite part about about Pretty Woman was when Richard Gere was like, Vivian, I think I'm falling in love with you, and I want you to go to a polo match. Even better, I want you to play a mermaid in a production of Peter Pan on ice in England, where you sing "My Heart Will Go On" and someone puts a cream pie in your face. Are you down?
Yeah. So then PK traveling and not being present, like, your marriage sucks too, Dorit. You know, like, I'm sorry that this was supposed to be the season we all gave a shit about your terrible marriage, and Kyle stole that from you. So would you like to talk about that? She's like,
Oh my God, after we wrapped, things got way worse for PK and I, mostly because we'd wrapped and TMZ caught it. And it was quite embarrassing, and I would like to apologize everybody out there for rapping. It was not my best moment, but it's not every day you get robbed in a Marshall's. You know what I'm saying?
As I walk through the valley, as I walk in the shadows in the valley of Marshalls, I take a look at my cart and see there was nothing left.
Pass that clutch, pass that clutch, pass that clutch.
I'm Slim Dorit. Well, that's really all I got in that one.
so basically she's saying it got really bad between them, and he went to stay with Boy George for a while. And she's like, and we had 2 little children at home. And he's like, okay, so you were living separate lives.
No, it wasn't separate lives. It was living in separate places, but, you know, all your belongings are still together.
And Andy's like, okay, semantics.
How dare you, Andy? How dare you? Words have weight.
And Garcelle's like, oh, now words have weight, huh? Well, that's...
I just want to clarify. Yes, I was being a hypocrite. But I want to clarify that when PK was staying with Boy, it wasn't that we were separated. He was still living with me. He just happened to be chained to Boy's radiator for a few weeks. So that's why we were apart.
It was the first non-twink to ever be chained. The PK was so honored.
To be fair, Boy did not actually tie him to the radiator. PK did it as some sort of protest. Apparently, he insisted that there be more bugles nearby. So I'm not leaving this apartment until you get me some
Boy
bugles.
told PK that the radiator was a box of Lays. PK chained himself to it immediately.
It's, you know, like when you see the people from Harry Winston coming in with their suitcases handcuffed to their hands. That's just what PK was doing. He was trying to escort the radiator that he thought were potato chips.
So then he's like, okay, so your marriage sucks still. She goes,
Well, he quit drinking, Andy, which is, you know, helped everything, actually.
really? Because when Kyle quit drinking, you said it's because she's cheating on her husband, and now you're unironically mentioning that your husband quit drinking. I mean, she didn't say it was for Morgan, but she insinuated that she quit drinking for Morgan. So,
Well,
interesting.
once
Look into
again,
that.
another blow to Leah McSweety's lawsuit. Another person falls into sobriety on Bravo. God, the way this network pressures people. So, so they're better than ever. And, it's just been a pivotal moment for them. And he's like, that's great. Well, he's like, well, you opened up to Kyle a few times about your problems in your marriage, but looking back, how did it make you feel that she didn't seem to trust you enough to share what she was going through? Andy, it hurts me, like after the reunion, Coyle and I hadn't spoken for a good couple of months, and I was going through my own things preparing my next season's arc when I saw her Instagram, and well, there's no pictures of Mauricio. Mauricio's nowhere. No mo. How about that? Rapping.
Which actually, I'm going to write that down. That's a new rap tune.
Okay. Well, I knew something was going on, and I said, we have to pray. We have to pray just to make it today. Rap. Hashtag rap. I said their marriage is too legit to quit. Hey.
So she's like, oh, I knew something was going on, but to not be told by Kyle, my friend Kyle. And Kyle's like, well, I mean, like, I thought we were close enough that you could, like, just call me. And she's like, but I did. You ignored me, Kyle. Kyle's such an asshole. Kyle just totally dumped this girl. Now, listen.
Totally did.
Would I dump Dorit? Of course. Dorit's a twit, okay? But you can't expect somebody to just come on and kiss your ass for year after year and then just dump them. That's not cool, Kyle.
I think the running theme here is that people on this show do things and they expect there to be no consequences whatsoever. And there's always consequences.
Yeah. So Kyle, of course, turns it into guilting Dorit for not calling her, right? Which saying, instead of waiting until there was a camera in my car. And she's like, well, Coyle, listen, you were trying to avoid me. And she's like, I wasn't trying to avoid you. I've just said, like, learn to exercise. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe I haven't been vocal enough, but I thought that the sound of my voicemail would be vocal enough. You know?
I like Kyle complaining about the insincerity of, like, you want to have a conversation. You want to wait until there was a camera in my face to have this conversation. And meanwhile, she's, like, trotting out all her daughters to sit on a sofa while she, like, displays their pain on national TV for us.
Do you see? Well, yeah. Also saying, like, I wasn't trying to avoid you, like maybe I haven't been vocal enough. I just haven't wanted to be friends with you. So you have been avoiding her until you guys got on camera. So what's the difference, And so Dorit's like, I did try to call you. And she's saying, well, but like when I'm struggling, I just I pull back, I retreat. I just need to be alone. But that's the point. You weren't alone. You were on vacations with people that you were posting all over Instagram. So...
And Dorit's like, but you weren't completely by yourself. She goes, well, because, I mean, like, well, you were looking at my Instagram. See, I was struggling. And Dorit's like, no, but our husbands are very close. And I know, if you're going on trips or anything, I know what you're doing. And Kyle's like, so you're saying I wasn't struggling? You're saying I wasn't struggling? I'm saying, no, you weren't alone. She goes, no, well, when I say I'm, like, pulled back and I'm alone, it doesn't mean that, like, I'm sitting in the dark, Like, I'm not blacked out in a black room. I'm just like in a cell of some sort. It just means I'm just not putting myself out there with people in a minute. Like I'm just like alone, but like with people, but like alone, but with people. She's basically like, she's just like saying, no, I received it from the world emotionally, but I was with other people, yada, yada, yada. And she's just
I was with better people than you. Like, listen, when I'm in trouble, when I'm having a depressing time, I want to be around less people. No, not less people. Less obnoxious people, and I want to be around more famous people that I'm kind of banging that are half my age. Sorry, nothing personal. Okay.
Yeah. So Kyle's like, and also like my entire adult life, I've been married, and it's been like really, really difficult and like painful, and like like we were trying to like keep a brave face still for our kids at home, and like I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to like talk about it, and like I know I don't want to like feel like I should be in trouble for that. I was like figuring it every day. I feel like I shouldn't be in trouble for it. Meanwhile, again, let's just bring back the footage of Kyle trying to make Denise feel shitty about whatever happened with Brandi Glanville.
Well, wait, what? How does that?
Meaning that Kyle's like, I shouldn't have to feel like I'm in trouble for like making choices in my life. When they made Denise feel like she was in trouble for the choices. Like, be open and honest. Why don't you be honest about it? Why don't you be
open
honest?
and honest, Kyle.
Like, you're in the principal's office. Confess.
So Kyle's like, I'm just saying, like, I needed time. I needed time to be alone. She goes, but you weren't alone. You were with everybody. Here's an Instagram. Here's Kyle on a story I recorded on my... Yes! Having the time of my life. It's like water skiing. And here she is parachuting with Morgan on her back. Like, Kyle, get out of here. So she's like, but also, like, my whole life I've been married. And so, like, it's really hard figuring this out. And Andy's like, well, so do you and Kyle feel like you're better coming out of this reunion? And Kyle goes, I do. I mean, I definitely do. I definitely feel better. This was a lot better, right, Dorit? She's like, to be honest, I don't. We do have stuff to clear up for sure. But, it's going to have to be an alone time where you and I talk. To my voicemail, no, Kyle, at a lunch. On my voicemail, no, Kyle.
Still in my voicemail. So Andy is like, all right, we're going to go take a break. The bullet points didn't happen to read. The yawning did, though. And I'm just glad you said your piece, even though it was a very long-winded, occasionally rapping piece. All right, we'll be right back. So now they cut for break. And basically, well, we have a commercial break, I should say. I thought this was the part where Kathy was going to show up, but it's not. We're still far away. Andy's like, all right, we're back. So now it's time for an Erica, segment where he's like, Erica gave up fighting for lead, but even with the new Vegas residency and lots of therapy, there were some grudges that she couldn't even give up on. So we see the whole Erica season of going at people, etc. And, Erica saying how she put in work to change her body and herself and her body and her mind and, however, but if you fuck with her, she's going to...
I'm going to take you to hell with me, bitch.
So he's like, wow, I have to say, Erica, good for you. Everybody loves a comeback. So congratulations on your redemption. Bet it all on blonde. So Sutton, you made a crack about Erica's prices being $7. That was pretty shitty. And she's like, well, I was actually coming to her defense because there was a guy who said, I think that her tickets are $1. And I said, wait, I heard that they're $7. I mean, that is 7 times 1, Andy. So it's much higher. And they're like, oh, Sutton, give me a fucking break. And Kyle's like, come on, Sutton, at least own it. Own it, Sutton. Come on, Sutton, own it.
Well, I mean, he asked the question. That's not what he means. And Sutton's like, well, I mean, do you have a sense of humor about you at all? I love Sutton being the one to ask that. Kyle's like, oh my God. And he's like, okay, all right, well, you say you're joking, but then you're also saying I was defending. So which one is it?
They're like, just say you were making a joke. She's like, I was making a joke. Okay, fine. So then, let's see. So, Erica, you announced you'd given up fighting for Lent, and you nearly made it through the whole 40 days. Why did Denise, of all people, get a rise out of you? She's like,
'cause she asked for it, that dumb bitch.
And she's like,
she looked for it. She came knocking at my door, Andy.
And Dorit's like, yes, she was looking for it, and she didn't find success the first time, so she had to come back a second time. Yeah, she had to come back. So Sutton's like, well, do you feel bad about it? Like a little bit for Denise, just a little bit.
and she's like,
absolutely not. Denise asked for that.
So then the next question is, Erica, you've been spotted out in Vegas with some old guy who looks like Rush Limbaugh. What's going on? Is that your sugar daddy? And then legal documents had revealed that he had allegedly sent you $700,000. She goes,
oh, he's my private lawyer. He's my lawyer. That's my answer.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, your lawyer paid you. Because we all know lawyers love to pay people not receive money. All right, great. So, by the way, I wonder, have you held on to any friends that you had when you were Mrs. Tom George? Did you have friends during that time, by the way? Because I don't think we've actually seen you with any friends outside of the people that you pay.
And she's like,
well, him. That's who. Rush.
And he's like, well, that's interesting because there was a theory among viewers, and I think some of the group here, that you did not want to show empathy towards Tom's alleged victims because somehow it made you feel guilty. She's like, oh, like, you know what it's like when you go through legal I mean, look, everyone here knows what it's like when your husband is accused of fucking over widows, orphans, and burn victims. Am I right? I mean, it's just a normal everyday thing, and so, they ask you to comment, not to comment either way. It's like, when you push so many other times you can't respond in the way that others think you should, then it makes you look like you don't have empathy. Oh, wow. Wow, that was a really long way around that.
Yeah.
One of the first scenes of the season is of you literally not understanding what empathy even means. And that's not even an exaggeration.
What is empathy?
So
She's like, Erica, it's when you put yourself in other people's shoes.
How do you do that?
Do I get to keep him?
How was the most, Eric? Do I get to keep them?
Do you still have the receipt for these shoes in case I want to take them back?
Yeah. So Andy is like,
All right, but so I know that you met with a group of people at the, and who were all victims at the. Talk to me about the meeting and why you did it. Well, under the advice of counsel is why I went, and I spoke to these women, and I thought it was important for that they saw me as a person and not through the lens of a reality television show. Okay, and can you explain why? I cannot. I cannot explain why I did it.
I cannot. Why not?
Cannot. I cannot.
He's like, did you learn things from them?
Yes, I did. One of them being that one of my paychecks was in a client trust fund.
What does that mean? Now, what
Does
is
that
she
mean
alleging?
that money that was supposed to go to her was put towards clients or something. I guess she's suggesting that there was obviously gross financial misconduct, but also implying that, like, look, everyone's accusing me of taking money from the victims, but some of my money actually went to the clients.
This victim stole from me.
Here's what I found out. Guess what I am? A victim of guess who? The victims, those motherfuckers.
I was victimized by not just one Marco, but two Marcos. Marco.
No polo in sight.
So, Andy's like, so wait, it was the opposite of what people are accusing him of? And she goes,
No, I just, did I say that? Okay, listen, the trial's about to happen, and so I guess we'll have answers at the trial, which is, why did these burn victims victimize me? That's the real question, am I right? Can't wait to see that play out.
And Tom's been diagnosed with dementia, but he has been ruled competent to stand trial.
And Crystal's like, I don't understand how that works. And Kyle's like, I don't understand it either, but I only read the headline. Maybe that's why. So Erica's like,
Well, I think that there's one thing that to be competent under the law, like, can you aid in your own defense, and then can your medical diagnosis help out? Long is it? I'm not sure.
and Crystal's like, no, well, my dad had Alzheimer's, and so I work with the Alzheimer's Association, and the standard length of survival from diagnosis to end is 9 years. So at this rate, like, he should be pretty far along, and so for Tom to be able to stand trial right now seems strange to me. I mean, for me, when you see the footage of Tom Girardi these days, he definitely looks like he's down a path. But I always thought it was strange that, like, the moment this scandal broke, it was like, oh, and by the way, he was just diagnosed with this condition. I thought the timing of that, like, was very bizarre to me.
yeah, and he's faking it.
Convenient. Yeah.
He's fucking faking it. And also, he looks a certain way because he's old as hell. I mean, he's really, really old, and he's been taken away from every luxury, and he's got to have massive depression, and, like, all the shit's fallen. I mean, he completely fell from grace. So he's not looking great. But yeah, this competency thing is a bunch of bullshit. Like, suddenly it's like, I'm incompetent. So yeah, that's pretty clearly fake. But here's the thing that I don't get. Why is that Erica's fault? A lot of this stuff, with Erica, the Marco thing especially, I'm like, burn her, get her alive. I'm like the town witch, But with some of this stuff, it's like, I don't know about coming after Erica for his faking it. I don't know how that's Erica's fault. But then Erica just doesn't know how to take a win. Because really all Erica had to do in this situation is go, I don't know. I don't talk to Tom anymore. The end, But instead, she's like,
Well, I don't know what Crystal's saying. Is she saying that he's faking it? Because if she's saying that, just say it.
It's like, why are you defending Tom? Please stop.
Yeah.
Stop putting yourself in the position where it even seems like you're defending that fucking guy.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, that makes Erica look better to not defend Tom. right?
Exactly.
So,
but she can't help it, you know? And so Crystal's like, well, I don't know if he's faking it, but we talked about it 4 years ago, and he still seems to be kind of in the same place or whatever. So Andy's like, okay, well, we're going to take a little break. So then Garcelle turns to Crystal. She says, oh, I know what you mean. Because for the way he was, I mean, for 4 years later, for him to be competent, I mean, what's up with that? And they're like, well, someone's lying. And she goes, so it's her, right? Wait, who says it's her? Crystal or her? One of them goes, so it must be her.
right, I don't remember who said it must be her.
Yeah, one of them's like, someone's lying, so it's got to be her. So then Andy is like, so is Kathy making an entrance, or are we starting with her? Like, does she have the same designer as Dorit tonight? I mean, Jesus Christ. How long do I have to wait today?
Everyone's like, Kathy? Wow. I'm like, well, so much for surprise in the cast. So then we cut to Kathy arriving at the studios, and she's like, I don't really like having bad energy with Chumbawamba, and I think it's like really healing for her. And like Mauricio, like, Chumba and Mauricio were going in one way, and she's going another way, and they're just both trying to work. And he's dancing for 4 months on Dancing with the Stars, and I don't know. And Kyle doesn't. I don't know. She's not a compulsive person like that.
Yeah, she's like, she's not going to decide this right now, but she's just giving all the gossip from Kathy. Like, she doesn't give a shit. She's like, all right, just what do you want to know, everybody? So then we go back to the stage, and now is the magic mic moment. Dun, dun, dun. And so we see some Sutton stuff, like her bringing her ocean spray wherever she goes. And so Andy's like, so a lot of people called out what they perceived as hypocrisy. Reality TV universe said no one's buying Sutton's prude act. She had dollar bills to give people. She's like, well, listen, I didn't know it was going to be like that. And, did I overreact? Of course I did. They were like, what were you mad at, Sutton? She goes, I did not like the simulation of cunnilingus. I mean,
Yeah, but do you like it in real life? No, I'm just kidding. I just needed to know. But do you like it in real life? You don't like it. What's going on down there? And he's like, all right, well, leaving Las Vegas. Ha! That was a pun because of alcoholism. The elevator door opened, and Sutton, you were convinced that the timing of the elevators was planned. How could you pull that off? And Sutton's like, well, I just don't know. I don't understand how witches do spells, but they do them anyway, okay? It just seemed suspect in that moment, and it was just this opportunity to humiliate me. And didn't she see what happened last night? I don't need anyone to humiliate me. I can do it for myself.
Now, I don't know how she pulled it off, but if I've ever known anybody who's going to pull things off, it's Erica.
I mean, I have to say, those elevator doors opened faster and wider than her legs. So it was, they might as well just start calling them Ericas instead of elevators.
First of all, I totally think Erica planned that. And of course they can't control an elevator, but I think she said, you can come down now, we're going to the elevator. And then it happened to open on their floor. Or she was saying, we're going down now. We'll see, you can tell her off in the lobby. And they just got lucky and the doors open on that floor or whatever. But
maybe at the lobby.
I think
Maybe
Erica
at the lobby.
Of course, I think Erica texted Mike. He said, okay, we're leaving now. Let's
Those
find a way to
casino
meet
elevators, I mean, like that would take like a true, like you have magical powers if you can coordinate those elevators, because I swear to God, I had a button at a casino elevator and you're waiting 15 minutes before those doors open up. So like being able to time
I just mean they could have tried it. I think they probably planned on meeting in the lobby or something. That's why they happen to all be going down at the same time.
Mike and the dancers were just going up and down that elevator for like 2 hours waiting, hitting every button and just waiting for them to finally be at.
They said we're on our way there now, and then they hit the button on Erica's floor or something.
So anyway,
it's not important enough to really care about, but yeah, I don't think it's like crazy for her to be like, oh, well, now I'm getting told off by a magic mic person. Thanks a lot, Erica.
No, but I'm just thinking, I think it just would be funny because I can imagine Mike being like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do today. We're here to save Erica. So what we're going to do is we're going to ride this elevator and we're going to ride it hard. Everyone push all the buttons all at once. And we are here until we humiliate that bitch.
Every time the elevator opens on every floor, they're like, I'm disappointed in your reaction to Magic Mike. How dare you? This is a 5-year-old child. All right, let's try it again. Next floor. Next floor.
You can't come in this elevator. It's being used in production.
Okay, so Erica's like,
If I planned that elevator, I'd be a billionaire tonight.
Yeah. So,
You kidding? You've all seen my timing on stage. Think I could plan a fucking elevator? Can barely do a satay.
Dorit's like, Andy, it's impossible. So Kyle's like, I mean, you literally couldn't even plan that. So Andy's like, well, could it have all been avoided if you just come clean with the group that, like, hey, I'm just going through something. I was triggered by all this. And she goes, well, I think I did say that the next day, but I couldn't say what it was that I was going through.
so it was because the husband was moving to London and taking the child. And she's like, I want my whole marriage being dictated to. And he's like, but you're not married anymore. And she goes, yeah, but I was trained, Andy. I was trained. And they're like, wow, it was really difficult for Sutton. And she's like, and then I stood up for myself and I said, I am not moving to London. James is not moving to London. I'm opening a store for 2 days a week for the rest of my month at least.
And I'm going to bring stacks of dollar bills to random theaters in Las Vegas and with no intention of using them. And I'm going to hold on to them and then storm out of places because I'm an independent woman.
I have proven that I can still be furious about other people's simulated cunnilingus, and I will do what I want to.
Sutton was left, by the way, Sutton got off the hook in this part hugely. I mean, she came up with the whole story about like he was going to London and I was not going to go to London. We really got far away from the fact like you were jealous you did not get pulled up on stage, weren't you, Sutton?
Well, she's learned very quickly the housewives or reality show thing trope, which is where when you're really in trouble, I mean, we're seeing it right now in Vanderpump Rules with a guy, so it's not that it's only just girls, but like when you get in trouble, bring up your trauma. No one can fucking argue with you when you've got your trauma. Now, Sutton is reaching for hers. Okay, hers seems a little bit more pat than most people's trauma, but she still has learned it, you know. And if it's like my horse hurt himself, she's gonna fucking use it, and it does work. They leave her alone.
And actually, because then Andy gets distracted because he also falls for the bait. He goes, you know, it's funny. Over the years with many women, the show has actually given them a voice that maybe they didn't have before. And some might say the true reality reckoning is the emotional epiphanies that Bravo causes our cast members to have, and their lives are richer for it. Thank you. Case dismissed.
That's Bravo helping women every second of the day. Thank you all for being here.
And I want to speak to that for a second because, Kyle, you really hurt my feelings. You said all I have is cashmere and a horse. And I have so much more than cashmere. I've got silk. I've got linens. I've got wools.
I've got Alfie. I mean, technically, you know, I've had him sign his life away. I mean, I basically own that person.
Jennifer Tilly. We've gone to Mood Fabrics and touched many things, and there's just
Kyle's
so
just
much more than
rolling
cashmere.
her eyes. She goes, well, like you said, sometimes we say things just to make a little joke. Okay, so now it's okay, right? So Sutton's like, well, I'm telling you, it hurt my feelings, okay? And you also know that it's not true. I have more than cashmere. I have a store. I have a store that has been open Wednesdays and occasional Fridays.
During the Beverly Hills season. And then it is used as a pop-up for Carvel ice cream the rest of the year. And that is a journey I am on. Also, coincidentally, my store has been turned into a Journeys outlet.
And Kyle's basically like, look, okay, it's a reality show. We all say stuff, but you know, like, what about the Uber driver? You don't want to talk about the Uber driver. And she's like, well, I'm not going to say that man's name on national television call. She's like, well, I don't want you thinking about the intricacies of my marriage when I haven't even told my children yet. Then stop asking everybody to ask you about it and stop bringing your fucking girlfriend on camera. You are so thirsty. I can't.
I mean, you took off your wedding ring and like we're...
Come on.
I mean,
doing
I'm sorry.
romantic tattoo scenes with Morgan Wade and then being like, what are people coming at me for when I haven't even told my children?
And he's like, well, we also found out, son, that your monthly alimony is $300,000. And we see this being outed on Watch What Happens Live, and he reveals it, and there's like 3 people in the audience like clapping. It's like Avi and Jennifer Tilly, and like some mod is clapping. It's like, yeah, well, some people were Some people applauded you, but others thought you were gloating. So, Anna Marie, you're still here. What do you think?
Oh my God, fucking Anna Marie. She's like, well, as a doctor, obviously. Okay.
By the way, I'm surprised Anna Marie did not come for Crystal when Crystal was talking about like the timeline of Alzheimer's.
Oh, you're right. I wonder
right?
if they just cut that out.
Who's the doctor now? Ha!
Yeah.
Go on. You were
Dr.
gonna say
Bean.
something.
Yeah, this whole Anna Marie thing. She's like, well, I come from a world where you don't like brag about your wealth. Like, I'm like friends with extremely wealthy people, like super famous. Okay, so you're from a world where you don't brag about your wealth. You just brag about knowing really wealthy people. And you brag about being famous enough to know really famous
Very
people.
Taylor Armstrong. Very Taylor Armstrong.
I know billionaires.
Bill, with a B.
Bill, you know.
Yeah. Also, this is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They literally put price tags over their faces as they walk around. So can we all please get over someone gloating that they have money? That's what this show is about.
I didn't even pick up that Sutton was gloating. I thought the whole point of mentioning that she gets $300,000 a month was to say that for all her talk about she's doing things on her own, she's also getting $300,000 a month.
Right. So it was like they were kind of trying to put her in her place in a way.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, I'm from a world where you don't do that. So then Andy asked Kyle about her Amazon Live because she's like, I mean, you said that after watching back episodes, you had to take a break from Sutton because you saw how she was talking about you. And Kyle's like, well, I mean, any chance she got in interviews, she was like, this friendship is a farce, like I'm not doing that, Andy. I'm not doing it. And she's like, well, we did have an amazing, Sutton's like, well, we had an amazing conversation before that weed dinner, and then you walked in and turned it all around on me. It's like the second the cameras come on, and I'm not a good friend to you now. Okay, well, the cameras came on and you weren't a good friend to me, Kyle.
Well, like, how do you expect me to be a good friend to you when you were like treating me like that in my own home? In my own home, my kids are upstairs, and you just kept telling me, talking to me, asking me if there was like a ring on my finger. It was like if it was like bought by Mauricio, And I love when Kyle's all of a sudden pulling there were children upstairs at her weed dinner where like, it's a dinner party on the Real Housewives. There's gonna be squabbling and fighting.
I love that. Yeah, you're right. My children are upstairs while I'm having a party specifically geared towards getting fucked up.
I know. Faye Resnick is in the house, okay, and you're concerned about your children. So Sutton is like, well, I was telling you about Christian, and Kyle's like, well, because he cheated on me. It's always because he cheated on me. I never said that. That's exactly right. Garcelle said it because that was fine. Like, that was the conversation that you guys had. So now all of a sudden Kyle is offended by insinuations when before, like, insinuations are off the table. Remember when we talked about that 5 hours ago?
Yep. Oh, gosh. So they're squabbling over this stupid weed night thing. I'm still sticking by what I said. Kyle was trying to get everybody to ask her. The minute they asked her, she acted like the biggest victim ever. And I hope they stop falling into this trap of just like doing whatever storyline Kyle wants at Kyle's rate, because it's fucking obnoxious. So then Andy's like, okay, well, Sutton, it didn't go well. So what was going through your head in the kitchen that day? And Kyle's like, it started out fine. But then when we started to talk and she started that, like, name him, I was like, okay, well, she seemed a little off, right? So that's why I commented, because, like, I really didn't know. I mean, I don't want to say drunk. I wouldn't say that. But, just not right, And by right, I mean sober. So is that calling her drunk? I mean, I don't know.
So, I got lost. Name him. Okay. So Andy's like, well, even Teddy weighed in when she came to Watch What Happens Live. Isn't that funny? I brought her back onto my show. So anyway, she comes on your drinking, and we have Teddy be like, hi, I'm Teddy. Well, it's pretty rich coming from Sutton, who has vodka in her purse 24/7. Which,
wow, I'm
it's not
so
vodka.
shocked that Teddy would show up and do exactly what Kyle wants her to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's okay. Well, the lead singer of Berlin said, stop making fun of me. It all makes sense now why Teddy was implying that Sutton drinks on Watch What Happens Live. Teddy is doing Kyle's dirty work. Hey, that's what Ronnie just said.
It's 100% her dirty work. Kyle's like, what? Like, nobody, what? What? That's crazy. Like, doing my dirty work. Like, listen, I mean, like, are there things I could have said? Like, there are things that I could have said about Sutton that I did not say. So how about that? Okay? Because there's a lot worse than just being an alcoholic going on with Sutton. Okay? I was like, see, this is what you do. She comes on here and she's like, there's a way worse that Sutton's done, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm a good friend.
Well, I think that insinuating that I have a drinking problem and I'm an anorexic and that I've made up my foot problem and that I take pills, those are all bad. I never said those things. I didn't say any of those things. Not a single one. And Erica's like, yeah, but you do take pills for your neuropathy. And Kyle's like, guys, did I say any of those things? We all know I had Anna Maria say it for me. Okay? I never said it, though.
And Erica's like, Sutton's like, okay, you insinuated. And she goes, I didn't insinuate anything. And she's like, well, it's understanding your responsibility in this insinuation, Kyle. You've got to understand this at some point, Kyle.
You have been relentlessly mean to me. Where? It's not as good as name him, Kyle. Not as good as name him.
As Denise would say, watch the show. Which I love that they have finally cast. I don't think Sutton was right this whole reunion, but really for me, it's not about right and wrong. It's the fact that Dorit could end all of this by saying, that girl's gotten more press than a keypad. Just kidding. Had to get one more rap thing in there. But for me is that they finally cast someone who doesn't give a fuck about what Kyle thinks and will go up against her. I love that Garcelle and Sutton do not give a fuck. Kyle has had this hold on people for seasons. I mean, there are people that don't give a fuck, but they get fired immediately, right? When they go up against Kyle. And these two aren't, and they don't care. Like, they're like, okay, you want us to bring up your stupid marriage thing? We'll bring it up. And then she's like, don't you feel guilty? And they're like, not really. Not really.
I agree. It's nice to have people who are willing to, like, push back at what Kyle says. But I want them to push back more effectively. Now I'm like, you're on the right path. Now say everything that the two of us are saying to her. Please, thank you. You're doing a good job. Now see it through.
I think they don't really care about Kyle's storyline. And that's where they fell down. Because Kyle keeps trying to get them to care, and they just don't care. They're like, okay, you want us to make a comment about it? Okay, we're talking about the ring. Well, what do you mean? Why are you talking about the ring? Because it's a cheating ring. We were asking if it's a cheat. Well, what do you mean if it's a cheating ring? Because the husband buys a gift when he cheats. Well, what do you mean the husband? They're just like so bored with it, you know? Garcelle's like, everything that we're insinuating is so obvious, and you're such a bore that you can't even have this discussion without fake crying like a teenager, you know? I think that's where they fall.
I would love it if they could maybe bring Alexia on to the next part of the reunion so she could say, well, you're not wearing the ring. So, like, that means obviously there's issues at home. And, like, I'm sorry, that's just what it is. And if you say anything else, you're a liar. Okay? Because I'm a star. I know these things. I just want, like, someone from Miami to be on this show. We used to always say, God, imagine if someone from Real Housewives of New York was on this show. They would just call out this bullshit right away, which they still would do. But Miami now has taken up the mantle. Maybe even New Jersey, too. And Potomac. A lot of the shows, actually. But I would just love anyone to just come in and just really lay into Kyle. Because
I would like someone to bring the racket like Venus and Serena. All right, Doreen. All right. Please stop rapping. It's cringe now.
Just call me D dollar sign. Dorit. Drop it like it's PK. Drop it like it's PK.
All right. Well, next week we're going to come back and talk about Kyle and Morgan finally in the very last 30 seconds of the show. Andy, I'm not gay. I just want to boogie to some Marvin. All right. Roll the clip. Roll the credits.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned. We'll have Summer House up tomorrow. It's a good one. And then also, because you can never get enough Beverly Hills content, we are going to have a very fun recap of the Eric Bet It All on Blonde thing, which will be very hilarious to make fun of. So keep an eye and ear out for that on our Patreon, and we will talk to you. And remember, Miami is going to be on Monday. So that's where that is, if you're wondering. So we will catch you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.